Okay, guys, so I hate to do this, but I don't. Um, now, so I know that a lot of people have come over and seen this IRS owned you with proof, biggest U.S. cover-up sold at birth. Okay, apparently we're not checking out exactly what it is we're reading and looking at and understanding it fully. Just because a page has a whole bunch of different names on it doesn't necessarily mean that that page is exactly what you're reading it to be. I had this document sent to me like about 2 weeks ago, okay, and this is gonna make a lot of you realize the reasons why I've been saying the things I've been saying and doing the things that I've been doing. So I had this document sent to me weeks ago after looking it over, because I actually, as you guys know, I will take information and I'll look it up and I'll get the facts before I go and put this stuff out there. So, yeah, um, man, I swear. So anyway, this document was in the Dropbox. If any of you guys had seen it in there, I'm sure people have seen it in there. It's been in there for over a week. I never made a video on this because I was already making a video on this every single day with what I was saying, as you're about to find out at the end of the conclusion of this video. So, the IRS does not own you. The bankers own you, or they try to own you. They technically don't own you unless they don't own you unless you let them own you. So now we got somebody pushing for paperwork to be filed without fully understanding what they're pushing for. And I want to put this out as a warning first. You don't have to do any paperwork right now or ever. As I've been saying, and you're going to find out at the conclusion of this video, the paperwork is not a requirement. If we all wake up the masses, we band together, we say, hey, we know the truth, it'll be resolved. And I'm going to get to that, okay? So, here we go. Now, this video is being put up that this document here is some kind of evidence that the IRS and all of the American citizens are owned by Crypto News is saying that all of the United States citizens are owned by this power and light. Let me get to the name of it. I'm going to show you all about that too in a minute. The North American Water and Power Alliance has a lien on the country, etc., etc. Okay, and that you need to go and file all these papers. All right. Now, actually, all this that's being looked at here, these were filings done by Everton de Oliveira, okay? He did this, as you can see all this right here. He did all this. This was him. This was his, like, U.C. filing, okay? He did this to free his estate. Now, this was in 2011. This was like one of those protective measures that he had done. Now, I'm going to show you guys something before we, we jump the gun on this. We want to look up his name. So we'll look up his name. But even before that, so the North American Water and Power Alliance, they have this lien on the country for $14,000 trillion. Actually, these are this was his filing, so this is this guy. Okay, now let's take a look at that. All right. Oh, I'll have to go back to this page. Now this is the North American Water and Power Alliance. The North American Water and Power Alliance is a proposed continental water management scheme conceived in the 1950s by the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. The planners envisioned diverting water from some rivers in Alaska south through Canada via the Rocky Mountain Trench, and their routes to the U.S. would involve 369 separate construction projects. the water would enter the U.S. in northern Montana. There it would be diverted to the headwaters of rivers such as the Colorado and the Yellowstone. Implementation has not been seriously considered since the 1970s. Okay? So they didn't turn around and all of a sudden put a lien against the U.S. in 2011. All right? I just want to make that very clear. Due to the array of environmental, economic, and diplomatic issues raised by the proposal, Western historian William Dubase wrote that the Nawapa died a victim of its own grandiosity. Okay? There's more information on all that, but that's the rundown on the North American Water and Power Alliance. Okay, it's not that they're a water and power company that owns that has a lien against the country and owns the whole country. That's just ridiculous. I mean, in some regards, I guess the title wasn't totally bogus. Yeah, the bankers, in a sense, the Social Security, or not the Social Security, the IRS owns you because the Federal Reserve bankers and the international bankers own the IRS. So, in a sense, I guess, by some stretch, whatever. Not really. But here we go. So, now, Anna von Ritz, I actually really like some of her stuff, and she seems like a fairly trustworthy person. So, let's take a look at what she has to say on this. And this is the same document, and I'm going to show you guys that right here, okay? Same document. Look at that. Let's double check that it's the same document here. North American. Yep, there you go. Everton de Oliveira. Okay? See how simple it is when you take somebody's name that's on something and then you actually do the backup research instead of just assuming, you know, based off of reading one sheet that's what that is. You really, like, this is why people get confused and lost, because people aren't taking the time to actually, like, do some investigative research. They're just here for views and subs, and that's not cool, man. The UCC filing above was done in 2011 by Everton Rocha. I've never met him, but I understood immediately what he was doing. He was covering his butt. I immediately did the same thing with a twist. I covered my own butt and everyone else's butts, including the states of the Union, all the way back to 1860. I don't know what is so mysterious about the document for so many people. To me, it's plain as day, just as it was for me. The named debtors owe the original Treasury the entire amount of the so-called national debt plus penalties. Everton filed and gave notice that he was extracting his estate out of the giant slush pile. I gave similar notice and step by step retrieved and extracted everything all the way back to the original states of America, which means California, Vermont, Florida, Wisconsin, Alabama. In international jurisdiction, there are no real people. There are only persons or beneficiaries, legally dead, lost at sea, etc., etc. Of persons in who may be named as creditors or interest holders. This is why your actual states, not any corporate franchises operated as states of states, have sovereignty in international jurisdiction both on the land and the sea. Now remember that thanks to the definitive Treaty of Paris, 1783, and the Constitution for the United States. Now, a lot of you probably don't understand the difference and why that's being said, because in 1871, we had a new Constitution, okay? It was a scam. It was a fraud. That new Constitution, basically, what that did was, instead of our original Constitution that was drawn up on our Independence Day in 1776, now, in the 1860s, there started going out publications that was the Constitution the Constitution of the United States, okay? Now, the Constitution of the United States was being pushed around because that was, they were tricking the citizens, they were tricking the American people into going along and allowing that dual constitution, if you will, to be created. Now, what that dual constitution did, see, they were lied to. They were told it was going to do all these great things. It was going to give like these dual citizenships in the same country, and it was going to give them all these wonderful benefits. And then when it ended up coming into, when they ended up going and allowing it to happen, then that new constitution that was solely, it was basically the corporation of the District of Columbia, the corporation of the United States of America, okay? So instead of the United States that we knew, the free United States with our free constitution, it became a corporation. The Constitution was the corporation constitution. It took our civil liberties, and that's why all the nonsense that goes on today is because of that Constitution, okay? And then what happened after that was they scrubbed it from the books, so nobody knew, okay? That's why you don't hear that. That's why it's not commonly broadcasted. It didn't really start becoming a thing until a couple of publications from that time frame came to the surface, because they basically scrubbed that. They scrubbed it from the history books, and then most of the publications hadn't survived. Well, a few of them surfaced. There's a limited amount of proof and documentation of that, but there is. And there's publications that go into all that. That's how we know that that is in fact a fact. So, continuing. Sorry. The Definitive Treaty of Paris, 1783, and the Constitution for the United States of America. These international powers of your states were granted first to the unincorporated entity known as the United States of America, and then 19 enumerated powers were further delegated to the United States operated by the British King. Also, remember that when you operate in this strange peopleless international jurisdiction of the sea, you must do so via a person either unincorporated or incorporated. Okay, these persons are named like ships are named, and they operate either as trading vessels or as commercial vessels, depending on where they are domiciled. A vessel domiciled on land of an American state is by definition unincorporated and must be recognized as an American vessel engaged in peaceful international trade. Such vessels fly by the civil peacetime flag of the United States, which has distinctive vertical stripes versus the horizontal that you see on the flag that I always have here. Okay. A vessel domiciled in the federal territorial jurisdiction or the federal municipal jurisdiction has to be recognized as an incorporated franchise, a U.S. commercial vessel that is engaged in perpetual warfare. All these vessels fly the wartime flag of the United States, also known as the Stars and Stripes. Okay. Your peaceful American states are known simply as Wisconsin, Alabama, and so on. And their unincorporated businesses are known as the Wisconsin state, Alabama state, etc., etc. Your peaceful trade name domiciled on the land and having the form John Jacob Johnston can also serve as the name of a trading vessel on the land and having the form serve as the name of a trading vessel on the sea, a peaceful American trading vessel. But if you fly the wartime flag of the United States, your vessel can easily be mistaken as a U.S. commercial vessel operated as a foreign citizen trust by the federal territorial United States as John Jacob Johnston, or the municipal United States as all caps John Jacob Johnson. FDR made advantage of these. I'm sorry, I'm losing my spot. FDR made advantage of these unknown facts to betray and enslave and saddle everyone in America with the debts of a private, mostly foreign-owned government services corporation, merely calling itself the United States of America Incorporated. And with his swindle worked. He let the bankruptcy trustees lose on the unsuspecting American public And these evil men simply presume that everyone using a name in the form John Jacob Johnson, upper and lowercase, must be a U.S. foreign citizen trust liable for the so-called national debt. They just didn't mention which nation, ours or theirs. We wound up paying for all the debts of the territorial United States racked up by the United States of America Incorporated, and at the same time the municipal United States government, another corporation merely calling itself the United States, picked up the service contract and created a whole flotilla of CESTU KV, trust named after us. Those are, like the our secret trust. That's another. So just to show you guys, the CESTU here, okay, that's the birth certificate trust, okay. The CESTU trust is an account you inherited due to the bankruptcy of the U.S. in 1933, and the subsequent ceasing of all the citizens' gold, silver, and other assets as collateral. This account contains millions of dollars in your name. So it's potentially the account that we've been using. It's potentially. I'm not going to say it most certainly is. That could be a totally different account, but that's another trust that's out there, and that's what I was trying to explain, and I figured I'd stop it real quick. I'd pull this up so that you guys would have a clearer understanding of this. But this very well may be the secret account we've been accessing. We don't know for sure. We don't know what we've been hitting. You know what I mean? So let's take a look here. This account contains millions of dollars in your name. The only problem is the government and legal system failed to inform you about it and how to access your money. In the meantime, they are drawing down on it for their own personal use as a payment to the Vatican and the English crown. It is the funds contained in this CESTU that the judge, clerk, county prosecutor are really after or interested in. This trust actually pays for all your debts, but nobody tells you because the elite consider those assets to be their property, and the Federal Reserve System is responsible for the management of those investments. You guys see where I'm going with this? Okay. So it's kind of good that I guess it's, in a way, it's good that Crypto did this video, because then it got me all fired up to go and do this, and now this might actually explain a little bit more to you guys. So in a way, his failure to actually go and really connect the dots and look at all the information is, in a sense, going to benefit everybody, because it got me really fired up, and now I'm I guess probably making a very, very informative video here. So thanks, Crypto, but next time, actually do a little research instead of trying to make a 5-minute video for views. So trust named after us: John Jacob Johnson, Mary Alice Compton, Lillian Marie Groskowitz. So now the United States is in Chapter 7 bankruptcy, and our estate vessels gratuitously created for us by the U.S. Department of Commerce and removed to Puerto Rico for safekeeping without our knowledge or consent, are again being presumed to be chattel property and unclaimed accounts belonging to the United States, and being subsumed into bankruptcy and liquidation of the United States. Now I'm going to do another pause. So those of you that don't know what chattel means, here is the definition: the most extreme form of slavery. Okay. Or it's also can be in reference to security interest over tangible personal property. Okay, so let's take a look at chattel slavery. Slave and slaves. Redirect here. Slavery is the strictest. Well, it's not going to go into chattel slavery, I guess. Oh yeah, here we go. Chattel slavery is also still practiced in the Islamic State of Iraq and Levant. In other areas, slavery or unfree labor continues through practices such as debt bondage, serfdom, domestic servants kept in captivity, certain adoptions, and in which children are forced to work as slaves, child soldiers, or forced marriages. So I know you guys have been hearing that term getting thrown around a lot. So those of you that didn't know what it meant, now you know. Okay. Mr. Rocha saw that coming and put up his hand. not my estate. My estate belongs to the living man, the one with his hands and legs. Extract me out of this mess and recognize the actual creditor who is owed the entire debt. Okay? So now this should be making a lot of sense to everybody. And I'm sorry for the confusion and misrepresentation. I did the same thing, only I expanded on it and made the claim for each one of the states and all of the living people, not only against the debtors named in this document, but all of the other debtors and debtors too. Against against the state of states and the state of states, against the Michael David Doe and the Michael David Doe, U.S. Foreign Citrus Trust and Michael D. Doe, a U.S. public transmitting utility, and Michael David Doe, a bankrupt citizen organization, and so on and so on and so on. And I just kept rolling it all back so that layer by layer the actual states of the Union and the actual living people of the land jurisdiction were established as the paramount security interest holders and priority secured creditors of the whole rotten shebang. Okay, so they already did these filings, and it's for everybody. This took hundreds of filings. This was all done and all carried out at my own expense and the expense of a few other Americans who served notice and established liens. Okay, that's where the liens are coming from. It's not coming from a power supply company or a power idea that hasn't been thought about in years. Both non-UCC and agricultural liens for every state and every American. Then we published the private registered indemnity bond covering all of the actual states of the Union. Taken all together, we hold title, lien, and bond for every state and every American. Okay? Right here. It's not saying we will. It says we hold title, lien, and bond for every state and every American. OPPT did something similar. Unfortunately for OPPT, it is not and does not represent the actual paramount secured interest holders, nor is it a priority secured creditor. We are the American states and the people. OPPT is a secondary creditor representing the interest only of the territorial and municipal citizens. People like bar attorney Heather Tucci Giraffe. My husband and I are actually people who live on the land jurisdiction of the United States. Our vessels' names are domiciled permanently on the land and the soil of our respective birth states of the Union, and we have the family histories and public records fully establishing that. Our families have been here since 1609. We are free sovereigns in our own right. The national debt and all penalties related to it are owed to us and to our actual states of the Union and our countrymen, not our bankrupt, spendthrift employees. Okay? Which is the federal government. So when we show up at the foreclosure auction and the bankruptcy proceedings, we tell the bankruptcy trustees that we are the paramount security interest holders and priority secured creditors, presenting ourselves and our own interests without reference to our employees. Guess what? That throws all the secondary creditors in the back seat, unfortunately, where they belong. They are welcome to discharge the debts of their persons in bankruptcy, but as for us, we are owed not only the discharge of debts accumulated by any federal persons operated in our names without our knowledge or consent, but the return of all of our purloined assets free, clear, and unharmed. Thus, a giant national bankruptcy of the territorial and municipal states is underway at the same time that a giant national probate releasing the assets of the United States is owed, and that is what the mysterious filing by Everton Rocha and all of the various follow-up filings accomplished by me and my team are about extracting our states and all of our good names out of the bankruptcy slush pile and bringing forward the claims of the victims of all of this fraud, reclaiming their Sesti KV estates. We have done all of this in support of you. We have done all this in support of what have you done in support of yourselves, in support of our effort. These vermin tried to take everything you have via another swindle, and nobody stood up but us. The Pope, too busy covering the guilty church's butt. The Queen, our trustee on the high seas and navigable inland waterways, too busy reaching into her smelling salts. The Lord Mayor of London, who owes us perpetual amity and friendship, snarling behind his filthy red dragon in green, black, and white dragons too. For all good it will do him. Come now, wake up all the way, get motivated, get moving. And this is going to make you guys realize what I've been saying here this whole time. It's going to like really click with you now. Come on now, wake up all the way, get motivated, get moving, spread the word, okay? We have the weather gauge and the bearing down, but it's up to each and every one of you to educate yourselves with your families and your friends and your communities countrywide. It's up to you to support us and the work we have taken on. All of this had to be done by just a few volunteers using their own resources. Now we need all of you to weigh in and shove, okay? So the biggest thing we can do is wake people up, share it. With Anavon rights, there are other paperwork methods that can be done. Some of those are in that Dropbox that I provided to everybody. Now, again, she flat out admitted that she was stating that she had already filed the paperwork that needs to be filed. Now, and this is why I'm kind of hesitant to go and file any other paperwork, because if you go and you file some other paperwork, it could end up putting you in you might be doing the wrong paperwork and end up in a second party creditor or something like that. I'm still looking into the exact game plan that I'm doing for myself. I've been totally honest with you guys. That's why I'm telling you, until I know 100% for certain, I'm not promoting anything. Now, this is information that needs to be out here. You know, one thing I will say is I did not really get to the part with Anavon rights until today when I saw him putting that out, because I knew what that paper was. That's why I wasn't too concerned with it. But I didn't go as far as I did today because I just like I said, it wasn't really important at the time. It didn't seem like I said, it was more like a dead end. But one thing I did know is that, you know, I have seen other stuff from Anna where she's saying, you know, that we need to just be waking people up. We need to be spreading the word. And that's what I've been saying this whole time. You know, instead of sitting here and filling out papers that may help, may not help, may end up hurting in the end, wake people up, get the movement going. That is the best thing we can be doing, is waking everybody up, building the masses. Once we have enough masses, we can kick them out. Kick them out and you know, try them for the crimes they've committed. So hopefully this will give a little bit more of an understanding. You know, I don't know. I'm hoping this will give you guys a little more understanding. It also helped me a little bit more too with finding this particular article. But as I said, this is all the same stuff I've been telling everybody because I've been seeing this. I didn't see the exact link that we're at right now until today. But so like I said, in a sense, it's a good thing because he got me all fired up and made me go track all this down. But yeah, disregard that video. It's like there's a very obvious trend there, and I hate to be like that, but when somebody like that is knocking the movement, like maybe a week and a half ago on Harvey's channel, knocking the movement, leaving nasty comments. Then Harvey comes out with a video with proof, and then all of a sudden he flip-flops and takes Harvey's video and posts it up as his own. Doesn't even tell, leave a link to people to go to Harvey where he's got a whole bunch of information on his channel. He doesn't tell people, direct them to go to Harvey's channel, but he has no problem, kind of taking his video and copying it and pasting it, which is mostly what he's done. I mean, any of the videos he's done pretty much are a couple minute videos. They don't require much. I mean, just like that Fedwire thing that there's a common track. I don't know if it's that, he's a mole or controlled opposition or what, or he just, is here for the views. I'm kind of thinking he's just here for the views, because the channel is named Crypto News. Originally, he had it set up for cryptocurrency news. And it's funny because cryptocurrency news was trending super, super, super strong right around the time that this movement went viral. Well, all of a sudden he went from cryptocurrency news to covering this because it went viral. And, I haven't seen him putting out a lot of original content. He's been mostly copy and pasting, and it's about one video a day. Sometimes not even, and he's cherry picking. There's a lot of information out there, and instead of putting out some of the information that's important information but may not get as many views, he's only putting out whatever's the highest trending item of the day. And there's a way of telling that. I mean, there's tracker apps and where you can see what the ranking of keywords and things are, and that's what the trend that I was noticing. I know Harvey saw it. I know there was a couple other creators that saw it, and that's why it was discussed in the live stream on Wednesday. And then, that whole thing with I'm not gonna lie, I made a comment to him yesterday. I made a comment to him yesterday about what he did with Harvey's video, and the fact that he was talking crap to Harvey and knocking the movement, and then the next day or a couple days later he's copy and pasting Harvey, flip-flopping just for the views because he knew it was going to be a big view video. So then today he puts up, he tries to get back at me by putting up a picture of the flag the way I had it in peril. So I mean, I'm just gonna be honest with you guys. I'm a straight shooter, and I'm not gonna hold back on things. I'd rather be honest, even if it means some people might get upset that I say this, but that's just what I see. So I'm gonna call it what it is. And sorry, crypto man, but you really, you should really look in, research before you're putting stuff up. And if you're just here to get views, man, there's plenty of other stuff you can, topics you can get into to get views. This kind of stuff is, you're playing with people's lives here. You can't really exactly be throwing up information that you haven't even really researched and directing people to fill out forms that you really have no idea of. That's not cool. That's precisely the reason why I would not promote forms until I completely and totally understand them, because there are consequences to things in this particular field. So if you guys like what I'm doing, give me a thumbs up. If you haven't already subscribed, I recommend doing so now. We're only getting started. Leave me your thoughts in the comments section below, and most importantly, share. Get this information out. That way people know what's real here. As I said, I wasn't even trying to be a jerk, but I can't sit here and just be silent when I see a trend or I see something going on there. There's a lot of people that have been putting out a lot of work, and they've been researching and working really hard, and I'm not seeing that over there. I've seen maybe 2 original videos, the rest are copy paste, and they're only the trending videos of that time. So alright guys, much love to you, God bless, and I hope this helps. I'll put the links in the description box.